Hello, everyone. This is Lavon McMillan, founder and CEO of Advocate for Me, LLC, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And you are listening to the Advocate for Me podcast. And I am so excited again. We have another amazing woman on for Women's History Month. And they are rocking and rolling and doing what they do for the community. So, with no further ado, I just want to say I met this amazing woman on another Facebook Live. We were celebrating Miss Turner's 40th birthday, and she was interviewing 40 women for her birthday. And we were together on that night, and just the testimonies and the stories that we shared, I was like, I have to get her on our podcast. And so here she is tonight, Miss Sherika Duncan. Say hello to the listeners.
Hello, greetings, and salutations, everyone.
Awesome. So just tell us about, because I already know your story, so I don't want to be spoiled nothing for no one. So just tell us who is Sherika Duncan? How is she changing the world? And what what's your purpose?
Wow. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Levon. I am a Southern girl from born in Southern Georgia, from a little old town called Madison, Florida, residing in the capital city of Florida, which is Tallahassee, home of the Rattlers and Florida State Seminoles. Mother of two. Mainly, I am a service to the community with a lot of different activities, such as a nonprofit for dance called Excellence Dance Studio. We provide free performing arts for children ages 3 through 17 years of age. And we also have community service projects for adults. And that is one hat. The other hat is I'm an author. I like, with that performing arts, I like to write poetry, write stories, stage plays. Excellence Dance Studio is a playground for modeling, dancing, acting, public speaking, and so forth, character development. Yeah.
Awesome, amazing. So I kind of know, like I said, I've heard your story and your testimony. So can you share with the listeners why you started the dance studio?
Oh, okay, most definitely. As a young mother, about my daughter is 18 now. So when she was at the age of 2, I was seeking extracurricular activities for her. She was a very outgoing burst of energy. Just I could tell she loved dance. So I found a program which looked appealing, and I noticed that they had recitals and put her in this program, which was not free of charge. This was a nice, well represented program, and it was costly. And her first year in participating in it, we attended the recital, and as a toddler, it was exciting seeing them dance across the stage. And for me, I was really pleased at that moment of all the hard work all the girls had done on stage. Yet at the end of the recital, there was a finale, and all the kids, the toddlers, came out, and the dance instructor was passing out roses to each individual toddler. Unfortunately, they ran out of roses when they got to my child. Yes, on stage. And for me, I luckily I had flowers of my own to present to her after, we get her back in our hands. Yet it just did not feel good to me. And it actually inspired, God revealed that this is something that you could consider as a community service project, because there are other toddlers who would cannot afford this type of outlet. There are children who are in poverty stricken areas who deserves opportunities to learn dance and performing arts. So that was the mission, and so that's pretty much how it began. This is like 20 2006 when we started Excellence Dance Studio.
Okay. Okay. And so that's some time. So I was about to say 2006. So yeah, y'all been rocking and rolling and helping the community.
Yeah,
So what would you say was like your main reason for starting the dance studio for your daughter? Like I know it was for your daughter, but it was another level. Like how would you say when like your first 5 years, how did you see the children, the students coming in, and what you saw develop in them? Um, and then all the way up until now, um, of what your what your company had influenced in them to for their character, like character building for them. What would you say was like your main focus, or just so happened, or did it just turn into like the main focus of character building for the young ladies?
it actually, I definitely love this question. So the main focus was to provide an opportunity, a safe place to develop into their character, to build their confidence in being a creative, so that they can tap into their greatness, whether that be dancing, singing, or acting or modeling, and even public speaking. Those children, being that we targeted areas that were poverty stricken, so therefore that meant I had to form, we had to get out there and canvas support into the community, making, partnerships with the business community, church, community, and school community to play a part in us becoming the resource hub to connect the children to the services in those communities. So therefore, what I mean is the school could, host a back to school event during the summer, to get people the information they need for the upcoming school year. It could be whether it's a new school bus or a new school bus route, or any type of information that need to be dispersed. They had to gather most of their population into one space so they can get it. A lot of parents aren't really hands on, so that's a challenge.
Mhm.
And so with Excellence Dance Studio role, we would create a free event, a free performance where we would do free food, free raffles, free, we had a barbecue cook off going on at the same time, free performances on stage. Also, we had a car show. And guess what? Those community organizations such as the Department of Health, school board, all the different representatives were there also in booths. They had vendor spaces, free vendor spaces, so that they could connect with the families, their target audience.
That is amazing. So how would you interact? Because it seemed like the dance studio turned into more like a community focus. Like everybody could come there and, like you said, share their information with the families and be able to, like you said, hit their target audience. So how did you implement that with the community?
So, our cliche all along, being a child from a big, large family, I can relate to the feeling when you just have this creative space, this urge to just dance and move side by side when you hear the rhythm of a beat. It's a spiritual thing. It's like we connect with our inner self and just sway, and we're dancing like we're invisible, like no one is watching. That was our actual phrase we used to say, dance like no one's watching. But I could,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going back to when my families would gather, and I would dance, and just how it would build my self esteem. So we knew we wanted to incorporate this same feeling within this program. And so the catch was wrapped around dance, dance, dance. But what once that was the fishing mechanism. We were baiting fish for people who wanted to dance because everybody could relate to that. So once they come to excellence, our main goal truly, yeah, we're about dancing, but we're about changing lives. That is our main target audience. That's our focus driven placement, is to become a community provider and give services out to the needs of the families that are in dire straits, the disadvantaged.
That is awesome. Like I'm just sitting here taking notes. I'm like, this is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That was one of the because that the first time when we was on Mrs. Turner's birthday celebration, that was the first time you and I had
Mm-hmm.
met, but we had so many similarities. Like I love the phrase that you said, dance like no one is
Mm-hmm.
watching, because we both dance. Like I praise dance, and we was cracking up that night because we was like, you
Yes.
too.
Yes,
And that is exactly one of the things that I feel like when I'm praise dancing, like nobody's watching. It's just me and God. Like I will forget like the whole congregation is there, past the choir, everything, and I'm just up there,
Mm-hmm.
just ministering to
Mm-hmm.
Him. And how has the dance studio influenced the girls? Because I know you just talked about like building their character and their confidence and being able to be part of the community. How would you say that their ability? So it's a two-part question. So one, is there an audition to be part of the dance studio? That's the first one. And then the second one is how has that built into their character for them to interact with the community more?
Okay, so the first part of that regarding the auditioning, it is for an advanced section of the program. They do have to go through an auditioning phase, but for the general services, it is basically an application process and just screening the commitment of the parent, the family. So being that is a free program, okay, a lot of people do not take that seriously. They will abuse your services because they did not put
Mhm.
anything to invest in it. So we had to have a stringent application process with the parent to have a rapport. It's not the child that is, the challenge for our program. It is the actual, some type of agreement with the parent if they will play an active role, because that is a part of our formula.
So definitely with that agreement, because you are serving all different populations, um, and being able to have that one-on-one, like that whole saying, it takes a village. So making sure that the village is there for the child, whether it's the community, the parent, or Essence Dance Studio. So that's amazing. I love the fact that you said that although you say dance, 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 and that's like the fish, like the bait that bring everybody in. But your ultimate goal is to change lives in the community. So, and the amount of years that you guys have been in existence, have you, as the founder and the starting the business, have you seen how Essence has changed other people's lives?
Definitely. And it's so touching and it gives us motivation to continue the race. When we are able, and it is a requirement that we find differences, making a difference in former dance participants. They're family. Once you're in, you're considered family. And guess what? They come back. I've seen a lot during the tenure of this, just the conceptual idea to executing it. God has been really good to us. The people who have been a part of our program started off as, toddlers. I've seen them grow up within excellence. I even seen some having to depart and go to elsewhere, other dance organizations. I've seen a lot of different things, police involved, homelessness, just fighting. It was just a very, very hard task, although worth every minute of it. We got our results and it is rewarding, having to take kids who had never been out of their community and take them out of state for spring break for a week to New Orleans, to Atlanta, Georgia, to Orlando, just for a week, because we wanted to give them some experience so that their outlook on life is expansive, that they're not a product of their environment.
Exactly. I when you just said that just now, with being able to take them on trips and take them outside of their environment. I grew up in West Philadelphia, and so I am a dancer, but I never been to dance school. So I guess it's just naturally
Likewise,
in me.
likewise for myself too. I can
And
relate.
yes, yes. And so the closest thing I had to a dance school per se that my mom and my grandma could afford was a drill team. And the West Houghton Steppers was like, that was my canvas. Like I went there and I actually was one of the founding members, and then they're actually still going. Like it'll be 30 years in June of this year, and that was one of the things that our director always did. Like she took us outside of our environment. Like we had been to Las Vegas and Florida and South Carolina, North Carolina. We marched in Disney in Florida. Like we was like we was just like all over. And that was and I'm just piggybacking off of what you just said, like being able to be a kid from the inner city and go to those other places, it was just like eye opening to the point that when you're an adult, you're like, okay, I can go to this place or I can travel to this place. And you're not scared to come out of your environment. Because I know working as a teacher, some of these kids never been past the corner because their school is across the street and they went to the corner store. That's it. That's all
Mm-hmm.
they know. But to have that ability to see what God has, made for this world and seeing other people and being engaged with other people. And I know now because of COVID, like we can engage with other people in different states and different countries because of, technology. But before it was like you got to go there and, feel the environment and feel the community and be able to be exposed to it. So I commend you guys for being able to do that for the kids and the families, um, because that it's just a beautiful experience to have that, especially that first plane ride or
Mhm.
that first train ride is like I remember us having one person where she had never been on a plane before and we went to Las Vegas. She had to get on the plane and her experience, and we laugh about it now because we adults, but that was like so scary for her. But we were a family, so we made sure she was comfortable. We made sure she was cool. Like we kept her engaged to, try to get her to, not think about being on the plane. So we was playing cards. We was doing everything that we could think of to, get her, um, comfortable for this trip. So, and she did it like the first trip, like she was nervous, scared, crying. But when we came back, she was like, when we going again? So just being able to have that opportunity, for a child's life is just so rewarding. And you just talked about that,
Yeah.
like rewarding and the results. Um, yeah, I'm sitting here smiling from ear to ear, just just thinking
Oh,
about that. Because you never
yeah.
know how, even though you said like your basis is to change people's lives, like you never know how much of a child's life you was able to change with taking them out of that environment.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
like you were saying, dealing with homelessness and different situations with the police and everything, just being able to be that vessel that God is using to allow those families to see something outside of what their norm or their reality might be if it wasn't for you. So I definitely commend you and Essence for doing an amazing job, for the families.
Thank you. And it took a team. It took a strong team behind me because I could not have done it alone. Excellence Dance Studio is mainly a family, and it is a family consisting of dance instructors who were formally trained to teach dance, modeling instructors, coaching. I have a men's or males program. So it took the men to lead the boys, and to teach them hip hop dance movements. Excellence over the span, course of the years. Again, I said 2006. So we're approaching 15 years. And, my thing is, we have evolved. We've seen a lot. We've seen the trends. We've seen where we had to stand still and be strong in our mission and our vision when we saw a lot of dance groups just popping up when Lifetime and dance moms all came on the scene. A
Hmm.
lot of different groups, were formed from that awesome presentation. They got to see themselves on TV. Yet, with excellence, being known as that community resource hub, we had to do a lot of setting the tone, conform to a trend,
Mm.
yet to build lives, build character, save lives, feed families, provide, you need a GED, provide GED instructors to give them the tools that they need to help their families.
And that's
So it wasn't about, yeah. Mhm.
no, I was just saying that's interesting that you stayed focused to that mission for the dance studio, because I know my daughter, she's 8 and she watches autumn shows and she is in dance similar to your story with your daughter. When she was 2, she was dancing all over the living room and flipping there. It's like, oh, dance school. Like, let's find you one right
Yeah,
now. And so she has been
yeah.
in dance since she was 2, and she watches autumn shows. And um her dance instructor, they actually just started doing like the competitions,
Mhm.
because with that comes other a whole nother territory and emotions and everything. So my daughter's not in the competitions yet, but she really wants to be. Like, she watched those shows and then she come back and be doing all the dances, and I just be like, okay, not yet, because I know she's still in that learning stage. So I don't want her to take it, to take when she gets to the competitions to take it to another level where she's like, I wasn't good enough or, anything like that. So do you guys participate in like the competitions?
Nope.
Yeah, yeah. And I love the community part about it. I don't know if you can
Pretty
hear. Oh, there you go.
balance
I was
of
about to
dance
say.
styles that we offer, but arts group, we do not compete. And so that's why I mentioned earlier how I would see some of my dance members go to other dance organizations.
Okay. Okay. I don't know what. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Because you went to answer that, and then I'm not.
Yes.
It dropped, so you might have to answer that question one more time about the competitions.
Okay. We do not compete. We are a performing arts group. So we have a balanced dance instructions, in terms of ballet, or I should say the beginning, um, ballet, formal learning of ballet, of course, lyrical, hip hop, jazz, you know, praise dance. We would offer those types. But as far as competing, we'll do majorette style dancing, but no competition. So when I mentioned earlier about I would watch some of my dance students exit to go to other dance entities, it is because they were interested in, we built them up to where they did not know how to dance. And now they're at the level that they have plateaued out of excellence and they are wanting to compete. And so we would root for them across, across the street. If they're over to another dance institution, they're competing now and they're being successful at it from having
Awesome,
the
awesome. And
foundation
then I
from
like the
Excellence
way
Dance
how
Studio.
when you said that they plateaued, like they were able to, I don't know, I want to say like you let them spread their wings. Like that's what I'm seeing in my vision. Like you was like, okay, you reached this level. We understand, that you want to go to the next level, and we support you and we appreciate you. Yes, so that's amazing. So let's get to the
Yes,
books.
ma'am.
Miss Author. Yes, yes, yes. So let's talk about the books. So that was another similarity that we had that we didn't know when we was on the call that night. So just talk about
Yes,
what made you want to write your first book and then how you elevated, because it's 5 total, right? Okay, yes, and how you elevated to being the author 5 times.
yes. I appreciate that. Former author, also
Oh,
my
thank you so much.
fellow author. I commend you for that as well. Well, just having the experience within Excellence Dance Studio, having to write stage plays every year for the
Mhm.
recital, because it's really a concert. We call it a dance concert, not a recital for our end of the year. It really tapped into my creative side where I started blogging for a local newspaper virtually. I still do. It's called Rika Epiphanies at the Tallahassee Democrat. And I noticed that I was blogging for, I believe it was 3 years. I looked around, it's 3 years. I'm like, wait a minute, I need to write a book now. That was one of the things that I outlined in my bucket list. And I was at a stage in my life, in my career, in my family, in my everything. God had revealed the space and the time for me to actually write the book after attaining my master's degree. I found myself twiddling my thumbs at the middle of the program. And so that was the perfect write the first name of the book, which is The Setup. And it is a fiction novel, mainly unlike any other because it is a fiction novel mastered with poetry and my that I mentioned, Rika Epiphanies, for my whole purpose for the blog was to write different rants of emotions. Whether if I was being confused about why are people being jealous of one another, I would go on a rant just discussing that, and not only just ranting, providing an alternative to the rant or possible suggestion to resolve it. And so I put those epiphanies within my publication, The Setup, and I wrapped it around a fictional story that is based on true instances of my life, but yet written in different characters, fictional characters of people that I met in my life who dealt with human trafficking. I mentioned that, within excellence, I saw a lot of things who were dealing with drugs and alcohol abuse. And it all pivoted from me experiencing as a teenager. I was on a track team, and at a spring break in a small town, we witnessed a friend of ours get murdered by one gunshot, in a one door entrance building, and how it affected, us in a small town. There were no services provided for mental health. No therapy was offered when that happened, when that tragedy took place as a child, and having to go back to school after
Mm-hmm.
spring break like everything was normal. You understand? So I figured that it would be the ideal solution to heal myself through the writing of The Setup, and put in place a therapist in the book. Yes, I needed to pause there because it's very, very monumental for our community, the Black community, to understand the importance of mental health and how it will affect us in our adult life if we don't go and fix what happened to us in the past. We've all experienced some type of a traumatic event, whether that be watching your family member, have a dispute in domestic violence, whether that be like, myself saying I witnessed a murder as a youth. Those type of things are privy to us in our community. May having a loved one, that we know who is strung out on drugs and alcohol, or probably, prostituting. So all of those things in the different aspects of it at whatever ages affect us mentally. And I'm just stating that with this book, The Setup, it was all based on writing about the experiences of just talking about how do we cope with alcoholism, drug, death, peer pressure for sex, and just unfortunate series of events. So then that book was actually released in 2020. Scott, no, 2019. Yes, 2019 is when the Essence invited me out to the Essence Music Festival as a featured author to go out and actually just be there to sell my books. And it was an awesome experience at the Essence. And I can't wait for everything to get
Yeah.
back to normal when this pandemic is just going away and we can all fellowship and build each other up in New Orleans. So this latest project, which was written in 2020, but released on January 2021, February 2021 of Black History Month, is called the Soul You Book Collection. and it is a set of 4 books that is focused on 4 different areas. So there's for volume 1 through volume 4. So the first book is mainly a spiritual, cosmetic view of how our spirits, being we are God like people, God gave, whoever the outer source, our creator, whatever your, I don't know who your listening audience is, but whoever your creator is, God, ever omnipresence of God has a
Mm-hmm.
large presence within our outside of our world. We must understand how that magnitude affects us in terms of the him creating the moon, the stars, the planets, and the trees, the air we breathe, and the food. So therefore, the volume 1 is based on our awakening of understanding how those things interact with us, because we are spiritual beings and we are electrical beings. If your heart was to stop beating at this very moment, you will have to have someone shoot electricity through your body to get your heart to start pumping again. That lets you know we are electrical beings. We are human, which hue is light. So that is mainly the first volume, okay? And then the second really pays homage to Women History Month, where it is based on us, the woman, the procreator. God has given us such a blessing to be able to birth a child into this world, a human being into this world. And we couldn't do that without,
Mm-hmm.
the our protector, the man. And him to make sure we are safe, to make sure that he would provide a safe place for us and to build and create great inventions, you know, and till the land and farm and raise and just bring up our fruits and vegetables. That those are the things that we are supposed to put into our bodies to replenish ourselves. And that is volume 3, The Protector, which is the man. And last, the 4th book is the understanding that through those 3 books that I just mentioned, understanding the cosmology and the evolution of space and time, volume 2 with the woman purpose, volume 3, the man purpose, we have takeaways from those things. So I have the last book as a journal, the scribble journal. Well, there is a set of questions to provoke thought so you can write out and
Mm.
hopefully
That's
journal your next
powerful.
step in
That's
life.
definitely powerful. So I'm just sitting here smiling like this. That's definitely like I'm gonna have to go and get those. But you could tell our listeners in a minute like um how they can get the books, and then but before you do that, so normally I always end the show with the next question being just tell the listeners what you feel from your heart. Um, and so you can share that and then tell them you how they can reach you, whether it's social media, website, and then how they can get your get the books.
Okay. So from the heart, I'm speaking wholeheartedly, dropping away all the titles, all of the accolades from human to another human, from my spirit to your spirit, that it should resonate with you of the importance of understanding who we are. I'm not going to say you, it's we, because we are powerful together. Together, we could go farther. Alone, we may get there, but it may be a struggle. So, to our people, speaking of the Black community, it is so important for us to unite. We must go back to our ancestral foundation. They have already paved the way for us to see the truth. Now, in order for us to see the truth, we have to prepare ourselves consciously, spiritually, physically, mentally, because unfortunately, we are living in a place that has already been destined for us. There's already a path that is set for us to go down. Yet, I am just here, human to human, to remind your listening audience, of the importance to create your own path, bring your own seat to the table. We have to build efforts of reconstructing ourselves. Do not sit in it. Do not conform to what society tell you that is normal. The news, CNN, all of the different channels of communication that feeds us daily, all the different platforms that drives information to our brain is programming. We must be ahead of it, not behind it. We have to understand that those things are meant to put information in our head to get us off track, to distract us. So we have to understand our history. We need to go back to understanding our ancestors, doing your ancestry, finding out your bloodline, finding out, if not that, finding out all of the great men and women that have came before us that have not made it to our educational history books in this world. There are a lot of stories, of factual stories, not myths, not parables, not things that sound like riddles. We need to understand the facts by understanding our history, not nobody else's history. So therefore, that means we have to go and rebuild our own history, because that's a part of the reconstruction and understanding our culture in our own language. This language was given to us. English is not our formal tongue. Yes, so that is the thing that I would like to leave with our listening audience, and that is the purpose of the Soul You book collection that was just released February 2021. It is a collection of information targeted to my Black families as a love letter to remind you of your importance in life and how royal we are. Do you know you are royalty? Because you are. You may find that publication online through Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble. Just type in my name, Sherika, Sherika, Duncan, Duncan. The Soul You book collection will appear, and you have the option to purchase it through ebook. I would prefer that you purchase it physically, because it is a small pocketbook. When you get these books, you're going to be so in love with the size of the book, because a lot of people are intimidated with thick book. My first book, the setup is 222 pages. Okay. That is a lot of pages to read for some, just an average person. But for the ones who are not they don't read often, a story, Soul You book collection. It is meant for you to pick it up, find the reference information, and put it down and journal your thoughts. And fact check to teach us how to discover the truth. because it's there. It's available to us. So let's put down the distractions and pick up our truth, our history. Thank you, Leva.
Awesome. You're welcome. How can they reach you? Are you on social media or website?
Yes, ma'am. My website is www.sherikaduncan.com. I'm on the Instagram at sherika.duncan, and Facebook is Sherika Duncan author, Twitter, Sherika Duncan underscore. And mainly, if you were to go into Google and do hashtag Sherika Duncan author, you should find me. And I would love to connect with you. My goal is only to encourage you, to be a encouragement and remind you of how powerful you are and how you should know your information so that you can understand why the things are happening in this world and why we are having our issues in certain demographics. And it is purposeful, but there is a truth to be learned to set the story straight, and you deserve to know the truth.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. With us celebrating Women's History Month, it's always a pleasure to be in your presence. I'm so glad that God had put us together on that platform and that I'm
Yes.
able to follow your purpose and your journey. I'm just so excited about it and looking forward to hearing more about what you're going to do for your community and hopefully one day meet you in person because
Yes.
everything's been virtual or audio. So definitely excited about meeting another queen doing positive things in the community. So, to my listeners, thank you for listening. Again, you can follow us on our website at www.lmadvocateforme.com and follow us on LinkedIn as Levon McMillan, on Instagram as Advocate for Me underscore L McMillan, and we value the fact that you are listening to us today. Hopefully, something that Sherika said has touched your spirit and made you want to move on purpose. So, we thank you. And until next time, peace and blessings.
Peace.